welcome back to the Average Joe podcast. I'm your host here, Joe, and today we're talking the pros and cons of dating older versus younger men. So this is just a small list that I've compiled, and this is also just a little bit of my experience. Also, like, subscribe, and comment below, and tell me, if you've experienced differently, what your experience is like, if I'm right, if I'm wrong, anything, any advice you could give me, I'm very much open to hearing it. But I think we'll start with the older guys. The older guys first start off they tend to be more mature. This is just like with age comes like wisdom, they know how to carry themselves, differently. They move in a different social circle, they have different expectations, they're just mature. And secondly, they're also very assured in themselves and they know what they want. They're not wishy-washy, maybe this, I'm not saying this is all of them, but it tends to be they know what they want, they know what they're looking for, how to get it, even in the woman, they just know. And, the third thing is that they are also just more experienced. Just life gives you more experience. And, even with some of the older guys that I dated, they just were more experienced. Just life has just happened to them. When life happens, it kind of builds you and it grows you and it changes you and it evolves you and, builds you to be a man. And they're just, when you're dealing with an older guy, they're just more experienced. And they also they have more security. Because, when they've reached, I kind of say older would be 35-ish. I give that somewhere around that ballpark to be an older guy. They, just more financially secure, emotionally secure, tend to be. They have money and they're not afraid to spend it, and you're not worried about going out with them and it's a 50-50, 60-40, 70-30. No, they're taking care of all the bills. They're, you go out to a restaurant, everything's all taken care of. If they invite you on a trip, it's all expense paid for. You're secure when you go out with them. Even the way they carry themselves, they're gonna hold the door for you. They're just it's a different ambiance. It's a different energy. And the fifth thing, which is I think one of the most important, is they understand women. They know what women want. They kind of know how to get to us a little. They're okay, all right, we'll slide her a little money over here, or we'll get her that bag over there, or we'll take her up to this nice restaurant. Or I heard that she liked this or she wanted that. They understand how women move and operate and the kind of things we want, that, will kind of switch us to be happy, they just are more in tune with the woman's wants and needs, which is just kind of also very helpful. But also, to the pros, there are some cons, and some cons are, first things first, they're very stuck in their ways. They're nope, we're gonna do it like this is how it's done, and they're very not flexible to step out of their comfort zone or to do something that they don't want to do, because they might be been there, done that, or I'm just not doing it. Oh, I'm too old to do this, or I'm just whatever, it's just not my style, not my cup of tea. So they can be, especially if you're a younger girl, you could be a little apprehensive toward that, because you're well, I want to experience these things, and just because you've already done it or you don't want to do it doesn't mean I don't want to do it. Second, not to be a little bit morbid, but they are a little closer to death, especially depending on how young or old you are. If they're especially 20 years older than you, you're dating reality here, I'm not trying to be morbid, but whatever. They are just closer to death, and women do live longer. Another con is that they tend to be divorced and or have married for papers or baby mamas and kids. So that's a super con, because you're getting into that, and then you just know that you have to tackle on either being the second wife or the second baby mama, and just who wants to deal with all that? That's already, a stress on its own, and why would you voluntarily want to get involved in all and that? Last but not least, they also, like, for things like, they work too much, they're not going to be on your beck and call. Like, they're not just going to be always around, they're not always available. They kind of work in a 24/7 kind of basis. So you kind of do have to get adjusted to that, especially just even like if you're dealing with a doctor, who's like always on call. If you're dealing with like a businessman, like he might get a call that he has to fly out to this business meeting or do that, like, or got up on this phone call. He doesn't have time to sit with you, all day talking to you and getting all into your emotions and figuring out how your day was. He's just busy. And so that can be fun, especially how emotionally available you need him to be. If you're the type of person that wants like somebody like you would talk to all the time, so it's gonna be there, all those kinds of things, like maybe not. And then now let's get into the younger guys. And this is younger and, guys that are just more around your age group. They tend to be, first things first, they tend to be more flexible. Just because like they have the room for flexibility, they don't have like the tie down of the responsibilities of the older guys. So they're more flexible. And that's physically too. And there's also second things that they have a lot of room for growth. And also too, you get to see the growth and the evolution in them, which is kind of really nice because you don't, you get the ready-made package kind of with the older guy. The younger guy, you kind of get to see him through the trials and tribulations. You get to kind of be a part of it. You get to grow with them. And that's also very beautiful just because like, you see a young boy becoming a man and there's a beauty in watching, growing with somebody and you guys struggling together and like getting there. They have more energy, they're more vibrant, they're ready to be in the streets with you, ready to go on vacation, they're ready to just like kind of do anything, especially if they have a little bit of the means, like they're like more on the go, like they're not necessarily too boggled with being tied down, kids, all of that. Like, they're going on their guys trip, they're flexible with you going on your girls trip. Like they just, are energetic too. And that energy, I just like transfer into the fourth one, does transfer into the bedroom. They tend to be, ready to go for round 2, 3, 4. Like they got the energy, flip you, turn you, whatever, they're ready to go at any second. Like that is, Viagra needed. I'm joking. All jokes, you guys gotta make better jokes. Another pro, no baby mamas tend to be, but no baby mamas or like wives, like, they tend to be kind of free of that. So you can kind of step in, be the first one, maybe take them off the market for good. Super pro. Some cons about the younger guys. They tend to be immature and especially those little frat boy things, those little childish games, them not just growing up or, them not cleaning or just taking care of, just like things that you're just like annoyed about that, you know that you don't have to deal with in an older guy. He's just more put together, more mature, and you're just like, with an immature dude, like if he makes one of those frat jokes or just one of those frat things, you just look at you're like, stop it. They're not as financially sound. Second thing, they're not as financially sound, and that's just because they haven't had the time to save. It takes a while to become financial literacy isn't just something that is learned overnight. It's something that takes time. You fumble the bag, get it back, fumble it again, get it back, and then you learn to like save and prepare yourself for the wife and kids, because especially when you are like a man's man, that you have to take care of everything. The wife is just there to do what she does, but like you are financially responsible. You should be financially responsible for everything. So, the younger guys, they tend to not just be financially sound or just don't know how to operate with their money or how to spend it. Like, they might even have the money and just don't know how to, reach out to your girl. Like, oh, just send her some money. She got to go do her hair and nails. Like, sir, it costs a lot of money. This hair isn't cheap. I got to go get my nails done today. They aren't cheap. Eyelashes, eyebrows, like makeup. It's not cheap. So, gosh, up your girls some money, and they just might not even understand that. Even if they did have the money, but they're just not financially sound. Like, okay, that is an expense that you need to factor in, okay? They're just a little bit third thing is that they're a little inexperienced in life. With experience comes age and just like that wisdom. They just are just kind of haven't gone through all the trials and tribulations, which you're going through them, which I kind of saw as a pro. But they, just a little bit are inexperienced in life, trying to figure things out. This is the time where they make those mistakes. They don't maybe see that this is the woman, I shouldn't operate like this or that with her. I should make this more serious. Like, they don't know that until they turn back around and look back and like, oh, I kind of, didn't treat her right, or, I wasn't emotionally, physically, ready for her, mentally ready for her. I wasted her time, life and experience gives you those things. And last but not least, you gotta have to teach them. And there's just something a little calming and soothing, and somebody who just kind of knows, and you don't have to kind of explain to them, they can kind of, teach them how to please you, how to talk to you, how to, where you are emotionally available, where you are emotionally at that moment. Like, it's just like a learning process with them. And with you, it's like you're kind of having to learn with them, and it's a process. And it's, I don't want to say it's like necessarily a con, like it's a terrible thing, but it is just kind of having to teach these guys. So I tend to prefer older guys. It's just always been like a weird preference of mine. I don't know, since I was younger, I've always dated guys who were just a little bit older, just because like my number one thing was I just like the security and like the comfort around them, and like knowing that, you're just taken care of, and, your job was to be there and just have your own aura and presence. I just liked that. Like, they handle business. I like, it's like I don't need you on the phone with me 24/7. I need to know you're busy and working and providing and doing those things. Like, and to just know that they were out there. Like, those are the kind of guys like I like. But I have dated younger guys, and, you do kind of get a lot more emotional availability with the younger guys, and they have the time to talk to you, they have the time to like you feel a little bit more relaxed and spread out your feelings, because the older guys are like, all right, come on now, tighten up your feelings, let's get this show on the road kind of thing. So there are pros and cons. So like, comment, and subscribe below and tell me some of your pros and some of your cons at dating younger versus older guys. Which do you prefer? And even in guys, I think some of these things can translate into women. Do you prefer younger or older women? And what are some of the pros and cons at younger or older women and younger and older men? Come on, you guys, like, give me some feedback here, so that like I know, so that maybe I should try dating some younger guys. Or maybe I should go back to the older guys. It hadn't worked over there. Maybe it'll work over here. I don't know. Again, we're all in this journey to figuring it out together, you guys. So thank you for another wonderful, I gotta find my words. Thank you for another wonderful episode of That Average Joe Podcast. I'm your host here, Joe, and stay tuned for more.